Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite podcast show. Mark Earns and Ken.
What's the crack?
Episode 144 of the Shite podcast show.
Getting up there.
Yeah, and what a week has been around the world.
Yeah.
We've seen protests, we've seen cases drop in the coronavirus, we've seen social distance ignored quite stupidly, and it's been a bit of a weird week. And it's kind of followed over on our show's topics that we're going to be talking about this week.
Yeah, it's good that the coronavirus is like less.
Less. So yeah, like during the show today, we have one coronavirus story. I'll give their viewers, I guess, we'll give a running order of our show. So we'll be talking about us being accused of stealing an ATM on Twitter. Then we have something that Anonymous decided to play a prank on police in Chicago. Then we have a Canadian model who no longer can use a straw. We also have a ban on sex in England. And men in space, as well as Google being sued. A little bit of something for everybody in today's show. I think you'd agree, Ken.
Yeah.
I think no matter what your taste is, if you want something political, we have something slightly political. If you want something stupid, well, wait till I tell you
You're
about
in the right
Canadian,
place.
Canadian model. You'll find that hilarious. And then, us being accused of an ATM, it is something quite a little bit funny. I think we might as well try clear your name to start the podcast. I think that's probably a good way to start most podcasts is trying to prove your innocence.
Before you get charged with something.
Yeah, until you I could probably indict yourself on some other charges along the lines of the podcast. So, as always, at most ends of each show, we ask our viewers to send in any questions, anything at all, really, if they want to talk to us. Feel free. You can find us on all social medias. At Shite Talk Show is where we're on most of them. And generally we get like maybe the odd like, oh, I liked your show, or oh, here's a weird story about jeans. But never before have we ever received a message where we were being accused of stealing something. And on Twitter today, I haven't got the guy's name, unfortunately, on his handle. I should probably give him a shout out. I'll actually go to the extra step and get his name. So Paige Rich or Peggy Rich on Twitter was the guy who accused us of stealing an ATM. Now we do have like a pretty solid alibi here.
Do we really though?
Probably not. Well, we weren't in New Jersey where this alleged robbery happened.
Have you seen the video, right?
I've seen the video. First of all, I didn't really know what he meant. It was quite early when I seen it. I seen the message and I didn't see the word ATM, so I was like, no, we aren't stealing. We are going to stick to our regular criminal enterprise of cockfighting, which allegedly we do now, if we can. Like, if there is any sport that me and Ken want to sponsor, illegal cockfighting would be that.
Would it?
I thought this. Yeah, I didn't think I had to run this by you. I thought this was something that me and you would both, logically agree on. Is that cockfighting is the sport for the Shite Talk podcast show to sponsor, be a main sponsor of.
The sport of kings.
Sport of kings. The common man's like sport. Every man's sport, not a common man. Every man's sport.
The common man's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, if one dies, we have dinner. However, not everyone apparently likes the sport of cockfighting, and some might say is even illegal in most parts of the world, and frowned upon by the rest. But yeah, we were accused of stealing an ATM. Now, if people haven't seen this video, so this video did go viral. It was seen by nearly 2 million people in the first day it was uploaded, and is of a man trying to bring an ATM onto a bus.
As you do.
Yeah. As you do. Like, now, ATMs, you know, the ones that you might see in shops, not in the walls. The ones that are kind of the rectangular box that generally are inside stores rather than a hole in the wall, as cultures might call it. And what he does is he can't really drag it because it's really heavy and he can't really lift it. So he kind of like hugs it and then twirls it towards the bus. It kind of looks like he's dancing almost with the ATM.
Yeah.
And he eventually gets to the door of the bus and tries to convince the bus driver to let him on the bus with the ATM. The bus driver obviously doesn't want to be a part of Grand Theft Auto and refuses to let a man onto an ATM, probably realizing if he owned the ATM, he probably owns a car. Because I'm pretty sure a person's priority life isn't owning an ATM, then getting a car.
I'd love to have heard the conversation with the bus driver.
It's probably like, I'm not letting you on with that. Why? You probably stole it.
It's my ATM, boss.
I owned this ATM. Anyway, the bus driver drives up, shuts the doors and refuses to let your man onto the bus with the ATM. And yeah, that's pretty much the video of the man standing at the side of the road with no lift for him and his ATM. Now, I can say I did a bit of investigation because I wanted to be able to clear a name once and for all. So I did a bit of research. I looked into it real well, and I can say that it wasn't, in fact, a man stealing an ATM. It was actually a practical joke. So,
was it?
Yeah. Darius Kenny is the comedian's name, who got his friend to record him as a man who had stolen an ATM and was trying to board a bus, just to see if, in fact, one, the bus would let him onto it with a stolen ATM, and two, he thought this was going to be gas. And yeah, it got nearly 2 million views on social media over it. So there's our second cooperating witness. We actually now know the guy who did in fact do the robbery of the ATM, and it wasn't in fact Mark or Ken, and we weren't in New Jersey. Not that I know of over the past week. Maybe you were. I haven't really spoken to you this week.
Something weird happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did the ATM come from?
I was kind of wondering this. Now, he didn't. The article, I just googled man, not robbed ATM, but man like took ATM, and then that came up, and so it didn't really go into a whole lot of detail into the one article I read. So when I did like my own investigation. I read one article. Okay, I read a piece that the Daily Mail did.
That's better than usual.
Yeah, that's better than usual. Just read the title. Presume I know the details. So I imagine that like you can probably buy ATMs on like secondhand like sites or eBay.
Yeah.
And it's probably like a not used ATM or not functioning ATM that was for sale, and he just basically used that as a prop.
Yeah.
I hardly think like a store would be like, your man walks into the store going, "Hey, I got a funny idea for a video. Do you mind if I borrow your ATM?" And the store owner going, "Yeah, sure."
You never know. It's America, like.
I'll give you $100.
Yeah.
There's probably at least that in the ATM. Yeah, so that's basically, I think we've cleared our name. We now know that it wasn't in fact the Shite Podcast show, but people can still ask us questions on social media, and we sometimes might reply, as we did.
Occasionally. Every now and then.
Every now and again, yes. I guess we can't really get away from the situation that's been happening in America with the protests.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't, like, probably we should start, this isn't our strong point. We don't do serious very well.
Yeah, we're not very good at serious.
We're not very good at serious. We could do, like, man steals ATM, woman can't drink straw. That's our wheelhouse. That's, like, in terms of where we're strongest at the most stupid or idiotic of the stories. So when something is that serious as police violence against minorities in America, we really, this is hard for us. But because there's such big news, we can't find any other stories basically, and deadline for recording a show is coming up. Obviously, I think obviously like you'd agree with us, me, when we were saying like obviously the violence that was seen against George Floyd was irreprehensible, and there should have been criminal prosecutions done against the police who were involved in that.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? He's been charged with murder.
Is he? Is that the latest?
Yeah.
All right, because I seen like an Australia. I was kind of like I was watching a few videos before he went on air of Australian News Network that was covering it. I think it was like 9 News Australia. Maybe that's the news. It's 9 something anyway.
Maybe that's in Australia. I don't know.
Yeah, they had an Australian accent.
Are you sure it was an Australian accent? Your accents aren't great.
No, yeah, it's definitely Australia. I was there, sure. I know what they sound like now. And yeah, basically, like it's as close to a war zone on the streets of like Minneapolis was where they were shown than they showed in Washington. Washington isn't. The protesters are slightly less violent, or not as violent, but like, yeah, like it's quite scary, and it kind of reminded me of the Troubles in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Where police brutality to a minority caused Bloody Sunday. Like, it was that they were banned from going out on the streets. They were not allowed to leave their houses for this protest, or the army would be called in. And then shots were fired on civilians, and civilians were killed, which led to, obviously, like the names suggest, a Bloody Sunday. And America is like very, very close. From the videos I've seen, are very, very close to like a Bloody Sunday type event, especially if there isn't prosecutions against those police officers. If that came out that they weren't being prosecuted, oh my God, like it's pretty bad now. Like,
like
Chuck Liddell and John Jones are trying to keep the peace. When you're sending UFC fighters to keep the peace. Like,
especially John Jones.
Yeah, especially John Jones, who's been arrested multiple times for like driving while under influence.
when you're asking John Jones to be the good guy.
Yeah, when you're asking when John Jones is telling, "Hey, people, calm down, don't do anything crazy," you know you're probably on the wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's getting out of hand, and obviously it wasn't just George Floyd. That was the tipping point of this whole thing. But like in various different way, people have tried to get their own back on the police and play little pranks. And this having went from the attention of the internet group Anonymous, who started playing a little bit of a prank in Chicago. Now, obviously, the police have a certain radio frequency that they use for sending messages via like radio telecom thing.
Yeah.
That's the technical name anyway. And and Anonymous were able to hack into that and played NWO's "Fuck the Police" every time the police try to actually talk to their intercom, and kind of mess up their ability to communicate with each other, because NWA's "Fuck the Police" was playing. So I think, yeah, I thought that was one of the nicer ways, one of the more friendlier ways of the protests.
One of the friendlier ways
is just playing music on a radio. Seems very less violent than throwing a brick at a police car.
I wonder, did they pay NWA for royalties and stuff?
You imagine that was a closed network frequency that it wasn't being broadcast to a wider audience. Like, I don't know where it comes, like how many people you can share music with until you have to pay royalties.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, or how much of the song was actually played, because I think once Anonymous keeps it at like 30 seconds, they should be okay. They might be able to avoid the royalty free thing.
It should be okay.
Yeah, this should be okay. But anyways, things have gone pretty crazy in the US, and like if that was the only thing that people were doing, and I remember like a few of my friends were kind of talking about it, and they're like, is this all the problem with like guns in the country? And we're like, no, it isn't probably guns. Like, guns aren't the problem for now. because they said the reason why police are so kind of gun trigger is because of the amount of guns that are in circulation, and like I don't know, I think it's more maybe a systemic problem to do with like drug laws and maybe and of gun violence in America because of drug laws than it is to gun laws.
Situations.
Yeah. Now I will say one thing: the protests that happened in Dublin are retarded. Like I said at the start of the piece, I fully believe in justice for George Floyd. I fully think racism is retarded. But equally as retarded is gathering in mass groups, not socially distancing, and walking down O'Connell Street for something that, one, the protest is not effective whatsoever. Like a social media campaign would have done far better of a job and wouldn't have spread the coronavirus than gathering in a mass group of O'Connell Street and walking down in something that didn't happen in Ireland because you're retardedly bored. So for those people, you're fucking idiots, and you're probably going to cause a spike in about 2 weeks, and we probably won't be able to move into the next phase of phase 2 of our reopening, which I believe is you're allowed to go into other people's house once they're no longer there. If we're following the Shite podcast,
once they're no longer there.
I think that's our phase 2, isn't it?
That was our phase 2.
Yeah, that's our phase 2. I actually have all the phases here. Phase 2, visit to different households, but as long as they're not there,
it's as good as the rest of them.
Yeah. And then like what I'm really looking forward to is our phase 3, which is sporting events can happen as long as none or both contestants have the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah, that's a brilliant one.
Yeah, you can you can have a football match where everybody has the coronavirus.
It's sorted.
That clearly makes sense for a rule, and I don't know why the government still hasn't enacted the Shite Talks 5, even a few to 5 states. Like the coppers one is probably the most needed and banned in most countries still.
I think it's because they don't want to give us the credit.
Yeah, exactly. You think we might ask for money? But really,
we probably would.
We're struggling here. Yeah, those cockfighting sponsorships don't pay themselves. You know what
I mean? We need to set up a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe for cockfighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should get back into our lane. So we'll leave the NWA's fuck the police and all that and the retarded protests that happen in Ireland for spreading the coronavirus. Thanks very much, guys. And we'll move on to an Instagram model who no longer can use a straw.
Yeah, no, this intrigues me ever since you mentioned it.
Yeah, so her name is Mary Magdalene.
Of course it is. You know who Mary Magdalene is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She'd probably use that name, though. Imagine that's... I don't know why she would use Mary Magdalene as her name.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a prostitute of biblical proportions.
that would make sense. Or well, once I start telling you about what she's known for. So I clicked into the article once I seen that a Instagram model couldn't use a straw, and instantly forgot all about her lips because I read this. The Canadian model, a stripper that is also known for having the fattest vagina, is no longer be able to use a straw or whistle. Suddenly, I don't care about her lips. Suddenly, that all I want to know is about her vagina.
Hang on, what?
Yeah, so apparently Mary Magdalene has the world's fattest vagina.
How's that even measured?
I didn't know. I didn't know it was something that women wanted. I didn't know whether there's a competition for the world's largest vagina, but she has it, and I've seen photos of her wearing pants, and you can clearly see her camel toe, and it is the biggest camel toe that you will ever see in your lives.
So that's an actual thing.
Yeah, like I don't know if we like. I don't want to like. Should we post a photo of what she looks like on her Facebook page? Like we could go into the article and I could screenshot what she looks like. I might post it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like maybe as our story. Like, do you know, I'll put up on our story when the podcast is released. How about that? We'll leave it at that. As you're listening to this podcast, if you follow our Instagram, you might see a picture on our story of the woman with the largest vagina, and you can quite clearly see her through her pants that she's wearing. So, like I said, instantly, I don't care about her lips anymore. Like, instantly. And I kind of feel like the article kind of knew that most readers would feel this pretty much similar the way we were thinking, realized that she has the world's largest vagina.
I'm assuming it's like it's fake.
Well, it's artificially enhanced, let's say.
Yeah.
So, like, in her own words, basically, what she is trying to do is define the opinion of judgmental pricks, I think that means us, in her quest to oversize her body parts. So, like, in the last 4 years, she's had a boob job, 3 Brazilian butt lifts.
What the fuck is that?
It's where they take fat from parts of your body and stick it into your ass.
Okay.
Yeah, so she had 3 of them. Like
that's some sort of weird fucking Kim Kardashian shit.
Oh, yeah, like it's kind of on. Yeah, it's her gone like absolutely like she's like giant tits, like hips like you'd never like her body goes like head, really wide tits, skinny waist, and the largest hips that you've ever seen in your life, and the world's largest camel toe, and then her legs.
So she's basically just totally disproportionate and looks like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, she like it does. Like she's obviously like some people get addicted to these kind of things.
And she's obviously one of them.
Yeah, well, yeah. So she's had her she had hip fillers as well. So obviously, give her like kind of bigger hips, and she had her infamous vagina surgery. Now I don't know about you. This might be just a me thing, or it might be at everything. But anytime I hear or read the word vagina, it comes out in my head. Like as I hear in my head as an Australian accent. So I hear. Of
course it does, Mark. Of course it does.
So anytime I hear vagina, I hear vagina. That's all I hear. Is vagina. Anytime and clearly I can do a great Australian accents, as our now listeners know. And like I said, we probably don't have any Australian listeners.
If we do, they're gone now.
They're gone now, or else they're tuning harder. So all this body enhancement has cost $80,800 pounds. Really, this is what she's estimated that like it has cost her throughout the years to get her like vagina enlarged, as well as her tits and ass and lips.
Why?
She has a very different way of what she calls beauty, I guess. But she does admit that there is some drawbacks of all this body enhancement. Doctors have started to refuse to do certain surgeries on her, saying that she no longer needs any work done, or she probably needs a reduction, probably in certain areas. And she's found it harder and harder. Now, in fairness, all of this has been paid for is by sugar daddies. Now, she has said...
Of course it is.
Well, like, for the large... Like, there is only one reason why you enlarge your vagina. But, like, we can probably point her to, like, a previous podcast episode where we were talking about a certain app with, like, men with larger dicks that she could find so that she doesn't need to get surgery on her vagina. Like, you can stay away. You can get guys who, like wouldn't... I don't know. Wouldn't that work?
Maybe.
We really need a girl analyst on the show.
I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
No. We had only one girl guest, and she might have been the last guest as well. So we were so basically there is some drawbacks, Ken. This isn't all fun and games when you're going through all these surgeries. So she said she can no longer use a straw or a whistle because her lips are just too big.
Then right, why?
Like, who doesn't like whistling? Like, why would you do that to yourself? It's perfect way to annoy a person that involves the least amount of effort, other than not touching them.
But surely there's loads of shit she can't do. If she can't do whistle, can she close her mouth?
Her mouth probably doesn't fully shut, actually.
Yeah,
You can probably close her teeth and most of her lips. So probably there's a bit of a gap.
From the description now, I don't know what this girl looks like. From the description that you gave, though, I'm just seeing a big fucking disproportionate balloon animal.
Yeah, she looks like in certain areas she looks blown up.
Yeah,
especially the vagina.
You're a bit obsessed with that.
Well, it's so large that we've all seen big tits. We've seen girls with big asses, but have we ever seen a girl with a big vagina? One that you go on about. It is something out of the ordinary. But that's not the only drawbacks. Her vagina. Sorry, I'm gonna have to talk about this a little bit longer. She has to get vagina reconstruction surgery to reduce the size of her vagina back in March. There's people who hate the word vagina who are cringing every time we talk about this.
Yeah,
it's like the word moist. People
don't say them together.
Yeah, the moist vagina. I'd say she can't probably get a moist vagina because of all the surgery. Anyway, in March she had to get reduction of her vagina because the left side kept growing, so she had to get surgery, which left her with some scarred tissue.
Sick.
Yeah, so basically she has 300,000 followers on Instagram. And you think the stripper business is probably very badly hit with the current situation.
Yeah.
But she managed to actually, like most business, go online and be able to do virtual strip dances for her viewers. She charges £81 for a 5-minute strip, and 50. She has 50 sessions booked every week. She's the age difference between 20 and 80, and it's men and women.
Jesus Christ!
Now, you think what weirdos would do this? She basically chats sexy to them. She does some strip tease for them. Sometimes she acts as a therapist to some. Some people just love having someone to talk to, which is kind of depressing that they have to find a stripper to do that. And she gets all sorts of different requests. Some people want to just see her eat stuff, try on clothes as well. Also, she likes to do footsies as well. People just want to see her rub other people's feet. That is a weird fetish. All fetishes go. And she even has people begging her to humiliate them and insult them. So yeah, it's kind of weird. She covers all bases. She's not just the average ghost stripper. She cares about her clientele.
It's all very weird.
It's all there. Now you can obviously just Google Mary Magdalene, maybe not Google, Instagram Mary Magdalene, and yeah, you can see what she looks like. You can see her camel toe. You can see, if you feel like it. If you feel like, you can even book her in for one of those striptease sessions or chat to her if you want to chat to her for 5 minutes. Maybe she'll chat to you a little bit longer if that's all you want to do. She might give you 10 minutes.
It sounds like you've looked into it.
like I said, I clicked into an article about not being able to use a straw, and I went in a wormhole of information. This story takes a few different turns to the point where we led to people who have no one else to talk to but a stripper who has the world's largest vagina. I didn't think when I first started this story that I'd end up at that point.
And are you glad that it did?
I kind of like the story, to be honest with you. It's an interesting story. I kind of feel like there should be a Netflix documentary made on, like, a Channel 4. Channel 4 should be all over this. This is the ideal Channel 4 material right now.
It's a definite Channel 4 story.
Yeah. So we can now go from a woman who would probably allow people pay for sex to England banning sex.
Yeah.
So I know a number of our listeners probably would be very intrigued of the story. So I know I was listening to the RTs. They give they have Ireland's medical officer basically give a report every day on mental coronavirus, and someone asked about the question of people who live in different houses. Are they able to meet up for intimate relationships? And they just said, well, we're not going to actually put any guidelines for that. We just put out the dangers of meeting up with people and not keeping social distance. And then people have to make up their own mind whether they want to take the risk of meeting up with their partner to have sex, basically. And England has went one step further. They said, no, you're not allowed, you're banned, you can't have sex with people that don't live in the same household as you, which if you live at home or with your family, which hopefully you're not doing, and that is disgusting and the start of every single porn tile on Pornhub. And as well as that, you can't go over to someone's house or pay them for sex. So all the sex workers are continuing to be out of work.
I wonder, how are they going to police that?
Yeah, it's especially if it happens in your house. If I don't know, it'd be very hard to police. I think maybe if people are in a car, maybe they don't live in their house, they for whatever reason share an apartment with another person and decide to bring a person to their car and go for a drive. That the police catch them in the act, that they'll be done, one, for having sex with a person outside their that they don't live with, and two, for having sex in public. They'll probably get a double whammy fine. Like your man fighting the bear got fined for not wearing a face mask and fighting a bear, which the face mask was far more expensive.
I don't think that they have banned sex outdoors.
I think generally having sex outdoors is banned. I don't think they had to bring in a new law for having sex outdoors. I think that was already frowned upon.
Yeah, but
what are you saying, Ken? What are you saying?
That's probably easier to enforce than banning people having sex inside.
Well, yeah, of course, obviously, because it's easier to spot a person having sex on the street rather than a person having sex in their room. That person would have to be under surveillance. If the police generally had to generally police that, they would have to have the house under surveillance already. I think it's more that if you're caught for whatever reason, the police come over to a house that has more people than that live there, and whatever they determine that these people are clearly having sex and they don't live in the same house, then they might press charges. I don't think people are going to be the police are going to be knocking on doors saying, "Where do you live? Show me proof to me you live here." Blah blah blah. More than likely, if you're caught, you're going to get one if you're intimate with a person in public and you don't live in their house. So if you're kissing them or whatever in public and you don't live together, then obviously the police can say fine you. I don't think it's just I don't think the police are going to be calling around and make sure you're not everyone that lives there is living there, and if you don't live there, you're keeping social distance and you're not having sex.
Even just the whole concept of that is just nonsense.
Yeah, it's I think the Irish, if anything will get us at the 6 counties back, it's banning sex. There's going to be a lot of unionist men out there that are some of them well, you still have sex in Ireland, and they're yeah, fuck it, we'll rejoin. Give that a month and we could have 6 counties back if this is enforced.
like, if anything, it'll just make people do it more.
People will be tempted. I don't think, like, generally people are, like, the compliance with the rules is getting less and less every week. But generally people are sticking to it. Now, I imagine if you weren't staying away from your partner, you'll probably continue not to stay away from your partner. There might be a case where, like, if you were staying away from your partner, you're gonna have to need eventually to meet up with them. You're not going. The video calls only can do so much. That, like, you're going to eventually meet up with your partner, like that. Yeah, and I'd say they'll probably wait till the, like, whatever their phase strategy is, and how far away from their partner they are. Like, I'm sure if people live, let's say, in a different county, they'll probably wait till the 20-kilometer radius in Ireland before they meet up with their partner.
Yeah, that's in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that starts, like, either end of this week or else next week, maybe Monday.
Yeah, like, it'd be impossible to fucking enforce, like.
Yeah, it does seem like, I think, like, it was just part of the legislation. It isn't like a big rule, but it's in there as, like, under the government guidelines. It's like, don't have sex with people that aren't from your same household if you don't live with them, and like, I don't, like I said, it is impossible unless you're caught in public having sex, which is already against the law, and not probably permitted anywhere. Then you'll probably get, like, fined doubly for having sex in public, not wearing a face mask if that's illegal in England, and having sex with a person that you don't live with.
Not wearing a face mask.
Yeah, leave you everything, basically. Unless you're having sex with a face mask, which is just weird.
Maybe some people are into it.
There's definitely someone that's into wearing a mask, having sex. I was going to say a person's name there, but I better not.
Oh, is it somebody that we know?
Yeah, someone that we know. Someone that we did a quiz with that wore a suit doing the quiz. Wore a costume doing the quiz. That costume was definitely used in other aspects.
Wasn't it? There's multiple costumes as well, which is...
You know, this lockdown has been pretty long. That's all I say. Like, it has affected everybody in different ways. And that certain person is probably infected in some other way. And if they listen to this podcast, they'll probably be glad that we didn't name them by name.
Yeah, because we usually do.
Yeah, normally do. We're kind of really good. We've become better at not slandering people. Like, we've really worked on not slandering people from the start of this podcast. We used to do a lot. Dara used to get an awful lot of time.
Yeah, Dara,
which is bad. He's also our legal advice. We go to, so slandering our lawyer is probably not a smart move by the podcast as general, but we've made adjustments, and look, we're learning. He'll be proud of it. Dara's going to be listening to this podcast with a smile on his face.
Yeah. And for once, it's not him we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. For once. So do we move on to our next story, which is Men in Space? So this is about, obviously, the NASA /SpaceX launch to space. First time in 9 years that the US has sent a person to space.
Yeah.
So, first of all, did you watch the launch? Were you one of these people who was glued to on your, like, phone?
No.
didn't watch it live. There's, like, the live thing went on for 5 hours. So God love you if you were watching live. But I waited till it was recorded, and I kind of, like, just wanted to see the rocket take off. And yeah. I want to see it go into space. And then I also want to see it land when the first stage rocket lands back on the little pad in the water, because that's cool as fuck. And I waited, and I I was outside. It was a sunny day, and I was like, my nan was over. I was like, so they're like, oh, this is a really historic moment. Like, I'm gonna show them on my phone this really historic, this really cool thing. This is a very, very latest technology of a rocket being able to land back on this like floating like landing board. Like, this is pretty cool. And I was showing, I was like, oh, it's coming down. And I was watching, I brought over them. And then just before the rocket landed, they had like some technical difficulty with the camera. It went black. And then next all comes back on and the rocket had landed. So you didn't even get to see the cool rocket land. So at that stage, I gave up. I was like, the rest is like, it's not that important.
Were you disappointed?
I was disappointed. Now I've seen it before. Like there's Nat Geo did a documentary on the rocket and on their second rocket, which is larger, which is one that sent the Tesla into space, and they went through like their problems that they had of landing the rocket back safely. Like many times that they blew up rockets, like was horrendous. They blew like I think it was over $1 billion per rocket. So when one blows up, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're kind of losing funding and backing by investors to continue with this kind of like program. So it was coming up to the point where like SpaceX mightn't be a thing if they couldn't get the rocket to land safely, because their whole thing is being able to reuse rockets. That's like the whole part of their like being able to land this thing is so they can use multiple rockets again and again and again. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't. What did you make of the? Have you seen the spacesuits?
No, like I'm not too big into spacey things. Like it doesn't really bother me. Like
yeah, but like obviously you should have had like they haven't changed the spacesuit since 1962.
Yeah,
like
doesn't bother me.
The spacesuit hasn't changed, and now they have a new fitted spacesuit. It looks a lot cooler. Like the inside, even the inside of the rocket looks like you're in first class of like some airline. It's just like looks like really nice material. There's like touch screens. Everything's real sleek back. Looks like a nice place to be. Like in an old rocket, it was like billions of buttons everywhere. You're like, how do they like control all this? How do they like hit the wrong button? One of their co-pilots gets sucked out of a vent. Like, well, all those buttons, like, surely one of them, like, flushes the toilet and the other one, like, shuts off the oxygen. Like, if you hit the wrong button, like you're going to cause lives. But, yeah, one of the kind of cool things is they got, like, a ride in a Tesla to the where they board a rocket. And apparently they listen to Back in Black as on their kind of journey to the kind of journey to the rocket, which I love, which is like it seems like a very Irish thing, but apparently it's probably an international thing, is before you go on a long journey, someone obviously said to them, like, have you went to the toilet? Like, make sure you go to the toilet, because there's no toilets in space. There's no way you can pee in space, because before they actually boarded the rocket, the car stopped off so they could use the loo.
That's probably just like a logical thing to do.
Yeah, maybe it's make them as light as possible, but like I'm sure they have like adult diapers though. Like they're going to spend a month in space. They're going to need to pee and poo.
I don't know if they'll be wearing diapers though, will they?
Maybe they have a space toilet, but I imagine like in the spacesuits, in the like
I know you just piss into your spacesuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that they like wear diapers and stuff.
Well, it's like if you see like them walking around, like around their like areas, like you can see, because it's very fit. You can see kind of like what looks like an adult diaper underneath it, or what looks like basically that's the whole all the pee and poo. And then, because imagine if you try shitting into a toilet, that shit's just going to go everywhere.
It's going to be chronic diarrhea.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we've all seen like Homer in space when he opens the crisps.
Yeah, that's actually a great episode.
That is a great episode. Yeah, but the new spacesuits, like it kind of like the material almost looks cheap, but it's still kind of, it's like real fitted. Like it looks something like 21st century. but like it also looks like something that you might wear to a festival. Like you have your big wellies on. It looks like, you know, those kind of really light raincoats that people wear. They're usually like luminous colors.
Yeah.
It looks like it's kind of like that with a bit of like plastic padding like around different places. The helmets look like something out of like game. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty cool. I like space. This is my this is my nerdy thing. Is
I
space.
don't like space.
Don't like space. I like Earth. I like going to eat donuts. I'm Ken.
Yeah, I don't like space. Even like movies about space. I don't like movies about space.
What about Star Wars? That's about space,
No.
sort of. You
No,
don't
I
like Star Wars?
No.
That's a revolution. That's even more surprising than your one with the big vagina. Everybody likes Star Wars.
No, I don't like Star Wars.
Especially, even apart from those pricks that like Star Trek.
I don't see the attraction to Star Wars.
What?
Yeah.
It has like lasers and it has lightsabers, and they have guys that fight with lightsabers and explosions and like stupid droids. It's amazing.
Nah.
I think most of our listeners will agree with me when saying Star Wars is class. Yeah, but like, what about like movies about space, like Interstellar?
No.
Didn't like that?
No, I probably didn't even see it.
Yeah, probably. If you're not into space, you're not going to see a movie called Interstellar.
Yeah.
I think Interstellar is actually on Netflix now. I might give that a watch. It's kind of plays with your head near the end. It's like it's such a mindfuck. There's about like third dimension kind of thing.
Yeah, no, don't like space.
So okay, we'll move off space then. Since you're clearly not interested.
No, like, you know, whatever. Like they sent a rocket into space. Cool.
It's cool. Like and landed the rocket back on a floating pad.
Yeah, like obviously, you know, right, it takes a lot of science and shit to do, but like just I don't care about space.
And then they were able to find like the spacecraft, like the Universal Space Station, like in space. Like,
but like, is it not a little bit of a waste of money?
Not really.
Like with all the people in the world that are starving and shit, and is it not a little bit like assholey to go, oh well, we're going to spend $1 billion here to send this rocket into space, but you can't feed your family. Fuck off.
Well, the people were probably like, if that money wouldn't have probably went to like feeding families anyway.
Yeah, because they have a space program.
Well, not really. The space program is funded by like SpaceX is an independent company. Also, NASA obviously is funded by the US government, so they would take in. But most of that money is going from investors.
Yeah, so would those investors not be better off trying to like solve world hunger?
Well, you probably like with the kind of like what they're saying is this looking to the future is the guaranteed the survival of the human race is being multiplanetary species, and they probably say the inventions and jobs that can be created from sending people to space or making space more accessible will create more jobs, which would feed more families, which would employ more people. And saying that open up this new avenue for business is a way of being able to stop world hunger, is by giving the people the means to feed their families.
If we were supposed to survive in space, we wouldn't need to breathe air.
Yeah, but we can also go underwater and like there's like the Antarctic. You could say that like about living in places that are really cold. Like if we were meant to have coats, like should we really be there? If we're born naked, we wear clothes. Like there's very few things where we probably should be, but because of like inventions, we can be there.
Yeah, but like their inventions here.
What do you mean?
Like you can, you know, people since the dawn of time have been like skinning animals to wear their skin because it's cold.
Yeah.
Like people haven't been since the dawn of time deciding, oh, I'm going to go to this place where I can't fucking breathe, so I'm going to have to bring this contraption to help me
Well, they
breathe.
have been like, oh, I hate these pricks. Let's go over here. That's why we don't all live in Africa.
Yeah, that's what people are doing. But like, space is like dark, cold, and you can't breathe.
Have you been to Norway?
No.
There's places in Norway where it's dark, cold, and really hard to breathe.
Yeah, and you're probably not supposed to go there.
Ah, well, you have people who live there.
Yeah, so they probably like adapt to it, but like you're never going to adapt to not being able to breathe in space.
Well, like you can create an atmosphere by like just firing out atomic bombs at Mars and like heating up the country, heating up the planet until like you create an atmosphere. Well, like if Mars is heated up through pollution or through like nuclear weapons, you could atmosphere Mars, or even you can put like little bubble things and create atmospheres in there by artificially introducing oxygen into these little kind of like places and have people survive there.
See, that's the problem with people. Like people people think that we are the most important thing in the universe.
Well, we're probably the most important thing to us.
But like a dog is the most important thing to a dog. Like a cat is the most important.
If they want to go to space, then they can build their own fucking rocket and they can go to space if they want.
Yeah, like we just humans have this like, what would you call it? Like humans aren't that important for the overall survival of anything.
I think like people like that is the kind of mentality that we'd be still in a cave. Like, why would you leave this cave? We have fire. Like. You can get the riot off that girl over there. Like, why would you go all the way to Norway? Why did you go all the way over there? It's cold as shit. Like this. What's wrong with this cave? It's great. I like this cave. That's that mentality.
Yeah, but like, what's wrong with that?
Well, we got to discover like Australia and Brazil and like Ireland and Norway.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just like.
Like, we got to see like a lot of cool places. We got to see like the Antarctic. We got to see the rainforests, and we got to see the like Great Canyons. We got to see all these magnificent like structures and places. And
then ruin them all.
We commercialized them all. Yeah, we fucked up. There's somewhere along the line we did go a little bit too far. And now we need a new planet to start all over again. Maybe we've learned our lesson about what we've done here. We're going to mess things up. Let's start over again.
Nah.
Do you ever like mess up on a game and you like instead of like trying to figure out if you can like redo it, you just start over again? It's like, I'll start again.
It depends how far into the game you are.
Yeah, that is very true. We're quite late into this game.
Yeah, so like it's probably a little bit too far to be starting again.
But like, I imagine when space is like, I think the reason why anybody does anything is because it's cool. Like, why do you want to create a plane and fly? Boats are quite a lot safer. Like, this was the top process back then because flying is cool. Flying is cool as fuck. Like,
it's actually probably because it's quicker.
Yeah, but like, space is cool. This is cool as fuck. Like, that's why you want to be there. That's why people want to live there, because it's cool.
I don't know. I don't give a shit about space.
I think space is cool. I'd like to see like that. Like we've like inhabited several different planets, and we have the ability to travel to different galaxies. I know that's impossible right now with the kind of technology that we have. But being able to
coronavirus.
Especially with once the astronauts don't have the coronavirus, we don't bring it into space. But like, yeah, I think if we were able to make like, I don't know, use black holes like they do in Interstellar to travel to like different galaxies or dimensions, like that'd be pretty cool. And yeah, like if that was a human invention that came from going to space, I think that'd be worth it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I prefer this cave. It's nice and cozy. You go to space. I'm gonna be here.
I'm going to stay here in my cave.
I'm gonna stay here in my cave and look at my
Have the
fire.
crack here. Yeah.
Ah,
What else do you need?
bit of fire, love of a good woman, and some shelter. Ken's a happy man.
Yeah, what else do you need? Like,
Yeah, space to fly, to have a lightsaber. When I was younger,
that's what it's really all about, isn't it? You just want a lightsaber.
well, when I was younger, I wanted like a robotic hand. I was like, if it ever comes to the point where you can have robotic hands, I'm cutting my hand off and I'm getting me a robotic hand.
Were you a fan of Mighty Mice from Space by any chance?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, biker mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them had a robotic hand.
Is that where you got the idea from?
I think it was also Star Wars. Not to bring it back to Star Wars, but I think it was also Star Wars. I was like, I'd seen Anakin Skywalker with the like metal hand. I thought that would be cool. I have like a metal hand. It'd be so powerful.
So powerful.
Then I learned jiu-jitsu, and I have the power.
And now you don't need your metal hand.
Yeah, now I don't need a metal hand. I can just I am the power.
You are the metal hand.
That also sounds like a sex name. The metal hand.
The metal rod would be a sex name.
Yeah, actually would. The metal rod's a much better sex name. Yeah, so like that's pretty much space. I think it's a great idea. Ken thinks it's a shit idea and wants to stay in Ireland. I wonder what our listeners think. They might be able to send us their thoughts whether they think space is a good idea.
Yeah.
Would you not like to, like, you know where you go on holidays? Would you not like to go to orbit on like a weekend trip?
No.
Yeah. Would that be not cool? I think that'd be cool, being able to go.
Like absolutely no interest in it.
I also think there should be like, I'd love to have a hotel that's underwater. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any interest in that either.
Like in the middle of the Atlantic, have like a few 100 feet underwater, have a hotel that you have to get a submarine to.
See, I can't swim, so I don't like water.
Well, the idea is you wouldn't be able to swim in the water. You'd be so far underwater. You'd be able to see fishes floating around, and like you'd be able to go to a spa and have your dinner. Probably a pretty good seafood, and take trips in a submarine. Like, I am a dreamer. I want my underwater hotel, and
so that's what you're going to do when you win the lotto.
Window is built. First of all, I'll build an underwater hotel, charge €1,000 a night, and then save up enough money to go to space on a weekend trip.
Off you go.
Off we go.
Mark, happy out.
Happy out in my submarine, or
with your lightsaber.
With my toy lightsaber, and I might get a metal hand or a golden one. Anyway, I think we'll leave the show there. It's been an interesting show this week.
Yeah.
If any of our listeners has stories or have topics you think these guys really need to be talking about this, send them into us at Shite Talk Show, Shite Talk Podcast Show at gmail.com. I finally learned our email address 144 episodes later. And yeah, on all social medias, Instagram, Shite Talk Podcast Show. If you follow us on a place that allows you to do ratings, give us the stars, give us the props, helps us be found by other people. So you spread the good word of the Shite Talk Podcast Show, and tell your friends, and then tell them to do the exact same thing. Force them.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Send them to space.
Space is a privilege. We don't punish people by sending them to space. This is something that we send convicts. It isn't Australia.
Oh, bye Australia.
We don't send prisoners. We still send them to Australia.
Don't you have like a sister in Australia?
I have several family over there. As a prison, it's a very lovely prison. Good food. We'll be back next week on the Shite Talk Podcast Show on like every Thursday. In case you have forgotten. And yeah, I don't know, should we post a story of, post a picture of what your one looks like or not? I'm kind of leaning towards doing it, but I'm not too. I'm going to let you take the judgmental ball on this one, Ken.
I don't know.
You're now the moral compass of the Shite podcast show.
That's not good.
We've taken a bad turn when Ken's now the moral compass.
Yeah.
Ken's saying no. But he's not saying yes, which means no. So we're not going to post the picture of your one on our story on Instagram. However, if you want to look it up, Mary Magdalene, Jesus' ex. Check her out. She's changed dramatically since the Bible, and we'll be back next Thursday with another show.
Yeah, see you there.
Shut up and sit down.